thousands of illegal immigrants are actually entering into the United States and being let go by border agents simply because we do not have the resources down at the U.S. southern border to house them. So now they're being let go into the United States. Even President Biden said this is an issue, but we have no other option. So I'm going to address what's going on at this time. We're going to listen to what Fox News is saying at the scenes just today, and we will listen in on what President Biden said today regarding legislation, Congress, and the U.S. southern border. So make sure you stick around for this entire video. I'll explain exactly what is going on. All I ask is one thing, it takes 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So I first want to start off, I want to play you this clip. This is from Fox News, okay? It's about a 5-10 second long clip. Let me just play it for you and then we will discuss it.
We are in San Isidro, a part of San Diego right now, where hundreds of illegal immigrants have just been mass street released from Border Patrol custody.
These people are being mass street released. This is not the first instance. Now, I'm not going to go and play the entire clip from Fox News, but in it, he goes and he asks certain people, hey, where are you from? Some people said Colombia, Venezuela, Peru. Others said they were from, I think one person said Senegal. Now, in here, there was no Chinese nationals, but these are people that were originally housed here in the United States, in San Diego. Okay, and I will address why they're being mass released in just a moment. But the concern right now is this is going to turn into a regular thing. It will be a regular occurrence here in the United States that we cannot house these people in detention centers anymore. And it's not because we don't want to, it's because we do not have the capacity to do it safely. Just today, we learned, saw an article, saw a report on this where somebody was found, they were not alive in one of these detention centers simply because it was over capacity and really it's underwatched. They don't have the management at those facilities in order to really house that many people. But I want to show you this, okay? President Biden, he's telling governors, tell lawmakers opposing the border deal to show a little spine. He wants them to stand up to former President Donald Trump, stand up to other Republicans, and push this through. Get it done because he says this is something that's absolutely needed. Now, I want to play you this clip, okay? This clip that we're about to see, President Biden is pretty much asking governors and lobbying governors to support a bipartisan border security bill. Now let's listen to this, and I'll stop it, here and there, and we'll discuss it.
Talk about the board.
Here we go.
My first day in office as president, the first bill I sent up a comprehensive plan to fix the immigration system. And I think you all have at your table, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't want to take the time to go into all the detail, a fact sheet on the bipartisan border deal. And it's titled Fact Sheet, Impact of Bipartisan Border Deal on Funding Border Operations. It lays out all the things that it does, that compromise. We introduced a comprehensive plan to fix the system. It included funding for high-tech border security, legal pathways for dreamers, address the root causes of why so many people are fleeing to the southern border to avoid violence, corruption, political instability, natural disasters.
I want to stop it right there for a second. He said they laid out billions of dollars for additional border security, high-tech border security. Now, that is perfect. That's great. But what he's not telling you is how much money was going to the U.S. border versus other priorities that he deemed, and the Biden administration deems, more important is other nations' borders compared to our own. Let's keep listening.
Folks, Congress has had a long, proud history of bipartisan history in immigration reform and abiding by our international treaty obligations, which we signed related to immigration. These reforms made America a nation of laws, a nation of immigrants, and the strongest economy in the world. But something changed. Over time, our laws and our resources haven't kept up with our immigration system, and it's broken. and our politics has failed to fix it. That's why months ago I instructed my team to begin a series of negotiations with a bipartisan group of senators, Democrats led by a very conservative Republican who did a hell of a job, to fix our immigration system. I provided each of you, as I said, a fact sheet with the details of that bipartisan deal. The bipartisan agreement represents the most fair and humane reforms in a long time. I didn't get everything I wanted. It also includes the toughest set of reforms to secure the border ever in history.
So I want to stop it right there again. He says this is going to be the toughest, border reform in history, and it would be by far. However, there is still a lot there that Republicans have been asking for. President Biden said, "I didn't get everything I was asking for," but Republicans are saying, "We didn't get anything we were asking for. We got a little bit more, a little more stricter border policies." But at the same time, by being more strict in certain areas, they're actually being less strict in others. But he doesn't say that. Now, what he's talking about in this bipartisan bill that lawmakers were working on for months didn't release what was in it. And by the time the information was leaked, guess what? Most people absolutely hated that bill. Absolutely hated that bill. But yet he's pushing it, and he's lobbying governors who, again, don't vote. But he's lobbying governors to pass this bill. How would you lobby your governors who do not have a vote? What are we doing? Let's keep listening.
The Border Patrol chief himself said, "We need more people. We need more agents on the line." Our bipartisan bill got the Border Patrol agents they need. It funds and hires 1,500 more agents and officers. 100 more immigration judges, 4,300 more asylum officers to get asylum decisions in months instead of years. Right now, they come through the border, an asylum. They not able to see an asylum officer. They get a bracelet and they get put in the country and they come back in 7 years. Come back in 7 years when we're able to hear your case.
So, he says they don't get asylum. They don't get it in months. They have to wait years. In many cases, they get a bracelet that says, "Come back in 7 years, come see us, and hopefully we can process your claim at that time." Whose fault would that be? If I was president and I see that's a problem, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to do whatever I can to fix that. Because right now, we do not need new legislation in order to fix that problem. Could we use some additional funding? Absolutely. Should it be more than $20 billion? Most likely. That's all he's asking for. You know why? There's also a government funding bill that has not yet been passed. And here's the concern there. If we don't get that passed within the next couple of weeks, the United States government's going to shut down. So when you think about it, do we have funding for the U.S. government? Potentially. But now that funding is up against this funding bill. Funding for the U.S. southern border. Funding for Ukraine, for Israel, for Taiwan, for humanitarian assistance to Gaza, for the Indo-Pacific. All this stuff is up for discussion. Let's keep listening.
Provides more cutting-edge inspection machines to detect and stop fentanyl getting across the border. As a win for the future of the American people and a win for your states. But then, as we all know, petty politics intervene. The Speaker of the House has refused to vote on the bill, even though...
I want to stop it right there again. He says petty politics intervene. This is something that we see all the time. This is not just a Republican issue, it's a Democratic issue as well. Are Republicans playing politics at this time? Absolutely. And why wouldn't they? When they see they are this close of getting a Republican president back into the Oval Office, when they are this close to taking back the Senate majority, when they're this close to potentially holding on to the majority in the House of Representatives, why would they not play these political games? At the same time, keep this in mind, Democrats did this exact same thing in the last presidential election, which got President Joe Biden in the Oval Office. Nancy Pelosi pulled a bunch of these exact same stunts. And guess what? Former President Donald Trump kept working with Steve Mnuchin, tried to get them to negotiate, work together, pass legislation. She led them on, and guess what? Passed absolutely nothing. As the Speaker of the House, that is her obligation to pass legislation. She didn't do it. So guess what? Republicans are saying, you did this to us last time, we're going to do it to you this time. And if you do not give us exactly what we're asking for, we will pass no bills. That's what's happening at this time. Let's keep listening.
Though again, there's significant support. Every Republican I've talked to your Republican colleagues. There are the votes on that floor to pass that bill. All of a sudden, people started to go silent, but they're in a tough spot. Tell that to the Border Patrol that we can't get this done. They support this bipartisan bill. Tell that to the Chamber of Commerce, the National Chamber of Commerce, who supports that proposal. Tell that to the Wall Street Journal editorial page that supports this. There are governors in this room who support it. Strong minorities oppose it, but a significant majority in the House and Senate support it. Folks, doing nothing is not an option. Compromise is part of the process. I didn't get everything I wanted in that deal. We didn't deal with Dreamers. We didn't do a number of things I think we should do. But you know, it's a positive step, a significant step. You know that. You deal with this every day. Some of you deal with it every single day. You have real skin in the game. So if this matters to you, it matters to your state. Tell your members of Congress who are standing in the way, show a little spine. Pass the bipartisan security bill, notwithstanding you may reap the wrath of one or more of your colleagues. Look, it's the strongest border deal our country has ever seen. It also includes the most fair and humane reforms for legal immigration in a long time. Let's get it done. And by the way, speak to your agricultural communities and ask them if they need temporary workers. Why are we making the kinds of progress we're making economically when the rest of the world is in a standstill in agriculture, basically?
I'm going to stop it right there. We're going to be done listening to him. But here's the reason why I wanted to explain, or pretty much stop it at that point. He says, ask your agricultural workers, could they use temporary workers? Yeah, they could. Could your local restaurants use temporary workers? Use part-time workers? Absolutely. But what he's saying is, we are going to give these people that are coming into the United States, going to give them a work permit. We're going to allow them to work. Here's something I want to bring up. One of the biggest discussions that's happening right now, it's pretty much behind closed doors. We're only getting, little leaks here and there. Democrats are very concerned that President Joe Biden will not have the votes to be the next president. They're concerned that if he is their candidate, the Republican candidate is going to win no matter what. This is also one of the reasons why we are now hearing rumors that Governor Gavin Newsom could be flipped into this spot. If this happens, it would happen likely very soon. But is this why we are now seeing California try to do more for illegal immigrants? Because now, I don't want to bring out and just speculate here, but is this one of the reasons why California is really opening the door, allowing more people in? Could these people be allowed to vote? It's likely not going to happen this year, but could their family members who are now taking care of them, their friends, their co-workers who can vote, are they going to be voting for Democrats? Because they are now bringing in more people to assist in their work. I want to show you one other thing, and we're going to discuss this as well. Okay? It says Border Patrol releases hundreds of migrants at a bus stop after San Diego runs out of aid money. I want to play this clip for you as well. Okay? It's another short clip, about 30 seconds long. Let me play this, and then we'll discuss it again.
The reason this is happening, obviously we've had a big surge of illegal crossings here in San Diego sector, which we've been showing all week. The other reason, San Diego County recently spent millions of taxpayer dollars to create a migrant shelter where some of these migrants could stay. That shelter just ran out of money this week. So there's nowhere to put these migrants from Border Patrol custody. you see the results now. These are mass street releases just dropped onto the streets of San Diego, and now they are getting help from this NGO where they're going to help facilitate their travel and go all across the country. And guys, you just heard it here. They're going all over the place.
Some of these people, like I said, going to Minnesota, to Atlanta, New York, New Jersey. Okay, they're going to Denver, everywhere. Here's the thing. He just said a facility. Is a migrant welcome center. It was funded with about $6 million. It lasted, I believe, 4 months. Okay, 3 to 4 months is all it lasted, and it's closing down because it ran out of money. It ran out of resources. That's what's happening. It's happening all over the country, not just in San Diego, not just in the U.S. southern border. It's happening everywhere. Our resources are now being depleted. People are coming in, and some of these people, the nicest people you're ever going to meet, are really coming here to provide a better life for themselves and their family. You can't blame them for that. The concern is they're now depleting our resources, which now means people that are here in the U.S., taxpayers, veterans, seniors, people that have been paying into the system, cannot get the benefits that they once did or need because they are now being taken by other people. Again, we don't have the resources, but yet we're pretty much opening the door saying, hey, come on in, let's go. Let me just bring up one other point. And somebody was telling me this. It's going to be like Black Friday back in the early 2000s, where you go into the Walmart or the Target and Costco, whatever. It's usually Walmart. But you go in and they have, 30 or 50 TVs. They're $150 each. Big screen TVs, great deal. They're normally $680, right? And there's only 30 TVs. Well, guess what? 30 people are in line. They're the ones that are going to get the TVs, right? They're first. But guess what? All the people behind them are now coming in saying, oh, I won the TV. Now they're wresting out of their hands. If you haven't seen those videos, go look. Go look for the Black Friday fights, TV fights. You'll see it right here on YouTube. That's what some people are saying this is going to turn into. People are going to be fighting for their benefits. And this could turn into a major issue or could turn deadly. So that's where we're at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.